In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college football games happening on November 25th, 2023, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Florida State versus Florida. The highly anticipated matchup between the undefeated Florida State Seminoles and the struggling Florida Gators is set to take place in Gainesville, Florida, as part of the long-standing Sunshine Showdown series. This historic football rivalry, dating back to 1958 and only interrupted in 2020, ranks as the 4th longest in college football, with a legacy of intense competition, particularly during the iconic Bobby Bowden versus Steve Spurrier era from 1990 to 2001. Beyond the intrinsic rivalry, this game holds significant implications for Florida State's pursuit of a national championship, making it a focal point in the intersection of Atlantic Coast Conference and Southeastern Conference inter-conference rivalries. The clash is scheduled under the vibrant lights of the Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, creating an electrifying atmosphere for what promises to be a pivotal moment in both teams' seasons. The Florida State Seminoles enter the matchup boasting an impressive 11-0 record, secured in their latest triumph over North Alabama with a commanding score of 58-13. Despite trailing 13-0 in the second quarter, the Seminoles orchestrated a remarkable comeback, scoring 58 unanswered points while outgaining North Alabama 521-226 and forcing 2 turnovers. However, this victory came at a cost, as they lost their starting quarterback, Jordan Travis, to injury, a setback that could impact their national championship aspirations. The Seminoles' offense has been prolific, averaging 39.5 points per game with 289.4 passing yards and 162.3 rushing yards per game. The defense has held strong, allowing an average of only 17 points per game. On the flip side, the Florida Gators find themselves with a 5-6 record, coming off a narrow 33-31 loss to Missouri, despite a valiant effort that saw them lead 31-30 with 1:36 left. The Gators conceded a game-winning field goal. This defeat extends their 4-game losing streak, having also fallen to LSU, Arkansas, and Georgia. The Gators' offense, averaging 30 points per game, faces challenges, particularly with a defense allowing 28 points against per game this season. The clash takes a unique turn, as both teams will be without their starting quarterbacks, turning the spotlight on the battle of the backups. While injuries are never celebrated, this shift in dynamics favors the Seminoles with a smaller spread. Florida State's backup quarterback, Tate Rodemaker, presents a different playing style compared to the dual-threat Jordan Travis, emphasizing a more pocket-centric approach. The absence of Travis places greater reliance on running back Trey Benson, who has excelled with an average of 6.2 yards per carry and 11 touchdowns. Drawing parallels with previous matchups, Florida State's game against Virginia Tech provides insights into the upcoming encounter with the Gators. Both Virginia Tech and Florida have similar rushing defense statistics, setting the stage for another ground-focused game. Rodemaker's 4 years within the program add an element of experience, while on the Gator side, redshirt freshman quarterback Max Brown faces the challenge with less exposure. Despite the setback of losing their starting quarterback, the Florida State squad is hailed as a well-oiled machine, showcasing an impressive offense and a formidable defense. The Gators' vulnerability in pass defense, coupled with their struggles on third downs, sets the stage for a favorable matchup for the Seminoles. In the grand scheme, this game is pivotal for Florida State's re-entry into the conversation for the Final Four teams contending for the national championship. It stands as their singular opportunity to make a statement, and the anticipation is that they will emerge victorious, building on their success in last year's rivalry game against the Gators. So the Florida State Seminoles to win and cover the spread as favorites. Analyzing the offensive prowess of Florida State, even without Jordan Travis, they rank 17th in passing yards per game, and the Gators' vulnerable pass defense, ranked 85th in the country, is likely to be exploited. Meanwhile, the Gators' offense, known for its strength and capability, has the the potential to score against a solid Seminoles defense. With a history of high-scoring performances, including 41 points against South Carolina and 35 points against LSU, the Gators have averaged 35 points at home this season, excluding the neutral site game against Georgia. The over is a convincing 5-0 in the Gators' last 5 bouts, pointing toward an expectation of a high-scoring affair, anticipating a barrage of scoring in what promises to be a thrilling showdown. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Clemson versus South Carolina. It's that electrifying time of the college football season when rivalries take center stage, and this weekend, the Gridiron Showdown unfolds between two fierce contenders from the Atlantic Coast Conference and Southeastern Conference, representing the Palmetto State. The 24th-ranked Clemson Tigers are set for an intense in-state clash against the South Carolina Gamecocks under the Saturday night lights. The Tigers, fresh off a 31-20 triumph over the 20th-ranked North Carolina, are eager to extend their dominance, having covered the line as an 8.5-point favorite. Meanwhile, the Gamecocks are riding the momentum of a hard-fought 17-14 victory against Kentucky, covering the line as a 2.5-point favorite in their previous outing. In the historical context of their matchup, the Tigers hold a commanding 72-43-4 advantage. However, the most recent meeting on November 26, 2022, saw the Gamecocks defy the odds with a nail-biting 31-30 victory on the road, injecting an extra dose of intensity into this year's showdown. Having secured a 7-4 record, Clemson showcased their prowess by containing North Carolina's offense in their recent victory. Now, fueled by a desire for redemption, they aim to take down South Carolina, seeking to capitalize on an offense that averages 29 points per game, with 236.8 passing yards, 176.7 rushing yards, and a 41% conversion rate on third downs. South Carolina, standing at 5-6, is buoyed by their recent success against Kentucky. Their path to a bowl bid hinges on a triumph in this upcoming clash. Despite offensive challenges, the Gamecocks have maintained a scoring average of 28 points per game, with 236.8 passing yards, 87.6 rushing yards, and a 35.1% conversion rate on third downs. Both teams enter the contest with 3 consecutive victories, setting the stage for a clash of momentum. The Tigers, initially aiming for an Atlantic Coast Conference crown, faced an early setback against Duke. However, recent victories against Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and North Carolina have rekindled their championship aspirations. On the other side, the Gamecocks, led by the solid performances of Rattler, have secured wins against Jacksonville State, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky. One consistent challenge for South Carolina has been their vulnerable offensive line, a potential Achilles heel when facing a formidable Clemson team capable of disrupting opposing quarterbacks. This factor leans the edge towards the Tigers, who are poised to secure a 4th consecutive win and reclaim bragging rights in the Palmetto State rivalry. So the Clemson Tigers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Delving into the statistics, Clemson has witnessed the under posting a 6-5 mark in their 11 games this season, with a 1-3 record in road games. The Tigers have stayed under the number in 3 of their 4 road contests, with only their double overtime loss to Miami surpassing the mark. On the other hand, South Carolina has seen the under post a 6-5 mark in their 11 games, boasting a 5-1 record at home in 6 games at Williams-Brice Stadium. Despite a 4-2 over-under record in those home games, the Gamecocks have recently stayed under in their last 2 home outings. As we analyze the trends, expect a game that may see both teams struggle to breach the 20s on the scoreboard, setting the stage for a defensive battle in this highly anticipated rivalry matchup. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Georgia versus Georgia Tech. In a rich and enduring tradition that has unfolded over 117 matchups, the intense rivalry between Georgia and Georgia Tech is poised to rekindle this Saturday in the heart of Atlanta. The Bulldogs, with an illustrious historical record of 70-41-5 against their Yellow Jacket counterparts, march into the end-of-the-year clash as the reigning 2-time defending national champions, flaunting a noteworthy 5-game winning streak over Georgia Tech. The time-honored, clean, old-fashioned hate rivalry takes on a new dynamic, with Georgia Tech charting a fresh course course under the guidance of head coach Brent Key, who is navigating the team through his inaugural season with a current record of 6-5. It's worth noting that the Yellow Jackets have bid farewell to their iconic triple option strategy, embracing a new system that has already shown promise, hinting at the potential for a significant leap forward in 2024. The upcoming face-off is more than just a routine clash for Georgia. They aren't facing the same Georgia Tech squad from the past few years. In their recent game against Tennessee, the Georgia defense displayed another stellar performance, securing a decisive 38-10 victory. Quarterback Carson Beck completed 24 of his 30 passes for 298 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Across the season, Georgia is averaging an impressive 40 points, while their defense is holding strong, conceding only 15 points per game. Both the offense and defense are ranked 5th in college football. On the other side of the gridiron, Georgia Tech stands at a 6-5 record, coming off a significant win against Syracuse in their last outing. Scoring 31 points, they clinched a 9-point victory. Quarterback Haynes King completed 16 of his 20 passes for 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. The Yellow Jackets are averaging 32 points for the season, but their defense is allowing 30 points per game. While their offense is ranked 38th in the league, the upcoming game will likely hinge on defensive improvements for Georgia Tech. Georgia faced early season challenges adapting to a new quarterback in Carson Beck. Following Stetson Bennett's departure to the NFL, the transition contributed to struggles in covering the spread of unrealistic lines, coupled with a slight national championship hangover and lackluster performances in some early, seemingly straightforward matchups. However, with marked improvement since the Kentucky game, expectations are high for the Bulldogs to bounce back in against the spread performance and cover the 24-point spread as they face Georgia Tech in Atlanta. Conversely, Georgia Tech, despite securing bowl eligibility, has grappled with against the spread performance, boasting a 1-4-0 record after a win and a 0-3-0 record in non-Atlantic Coast Conference games this season. This game marks a departure from the Georgia Tech teams of years past, presenting a new challenge for Georgia. Averaging 40 points per game, Georgia is poised to dominate offensively, and their defense is expected to capitalize on opportunities against Haynes King. It's unlikely that Georgia will concede more than 14 points, securing a decisive victory. While the Yellow Jackets have been finding ways to win games recently, their defensive struggles make them vulnerable against the formidable Georgia squad. With Georgia winning 8 of the last 10 meetings and covering 7 of those games, the Georgia Bulldogs to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Turning to the over-under aspect, Georgia Tech boasts an impressive record of 9-2-0, leading the Atlantic Coast Conference. Having breached the 30-plus point mark in 6 out of 11 games, the Yellow Jackets' offense is adept at engaging in high-scoring affairs. However, their defense has allowed 30-plus points in 6 games, presenting a potential vulnerability. Conversely, Georgia has consistently demonstrated offensive prowess by scoring 30-plus points in 6 consecutive games, even though their defense has shown some signs of vulnerability, with both teams showcasing offensive firepower and a propensity for high-scoring contests. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.